Seems like Vin Diesel has big plans for Fast and Furious 10, including the return of Brian O'Connor. Unfortunately, Justin Lin just stepped down from director, and it could be all Vin Diesel's fault. So the Fast and Furious franchise is finally coming to an end after a very long run. Fast 10 is going to come in 2 parts, and Vin Diesel has big plans for a big finale. But it almost seems like his plans and demands are too big for Justin Lin to handle. It was reported that Justin Lin had stepped down from director back to producer. And this is disappointing because Justin Lin has directed so many of the Fast and Furious movies and has done such a great job. Something big had to happen for Justin to step down from directing this final movie. And it seems like it all revolves around Vin Diesel. Now, Vin Diesel has already had multiple run-ins and issues with Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. They're going back and forth and fighting, and each are blaming another and so on and so forth, and nobody knew what side to take. And now with recent information that we're getting, it seems that The Rock might have been right this entire time. Now, almost every media outlet I can think of has been reporting on this, and one of the biggest ones I can come up with is Hollywood Reporter. Again, you can find this article almost anywhere. And that is, it started with Vin Diesel and Justin talking about the Fast 10 movie and what direction they were going to take it. And it turned into a major argument that resulted in a couple slammed doors. And Justin said in a quote, "This movie is not worth my mental health." Now, this isn't the first argument Vin Diesel and Justin have had. In past Fast and Furious movies, Vin Diesel has a bad habit of showing up late, showing up out of shape, not knowing his lines, and making extreme alterations to the script. These are all the reasons that Justin said he had to step down. Now, over a course of several movies, the tension just built up to a point where he couldn't take it anymore. Now, I can understand that, and I can also understand making minor changes to a script or even some mediocre changes to improve a movie. But if you're constantly making large changes like Vin Diesel wants to do, which I'll touch on in a second, I can understand Justin's frustrations. Now, Mia Toretto was never written into the script for Fast 10, and this is one of the big changes that Vin Diesel wanted. He wants the return of Mia. Now, obviously, since we don't know the script, we don't know the storyline, and we don't know why she's not in it. There could be a very valid reason why she's not in it, but Vin Diesel wants her in it, and he's fighting tooth and nail to get her back. Also, he wants Brian O'Connor back. Now, he mentioned that Brian O'Connor's family talked to him and really expressed the fact that they wanted to see him in one last movie. This is a major, major change to a script. Brian O'Connor had his perfect exit. We don't need to be reintroducing him. I feel like when him and Dominic Toretto drove off, Dom in his Charger, Brian in his white Supra, and they just split ways down that road, that was the perfect ending. That was his perfect exit. We do not need to bring Brian back. As much as I love Brian O'Connor and he will always be my favorite Fast and Furious character, leave it be. We don't need to push a subject here. But this is one of the other reasons that Justin Lin had stepped down from directing. He can't deal with all these changes that Vin Diesel is making. Now, Vin Diesel is not the only one making these changes. We'll step into that in a second as well. But apparently Vin Diesel also shows up not knowing his lines and out of shape. I noticed the out of shape part. There's been multiple Fast and Furious movies where I'm looking at him going, he is not in as good a shape as he was in the last movie. He started looking a little soft around the edges. And this was something else Justin Lin touched on. And even The Rock, apparently, from my understanding, that could be totally wrong, but he was set to have a certain physique for this film, as he did in the first one. He was very cut, he was very toned. Now, granted, he was a lot younger back then, too. But still, look, I mean, you can work out and stay toned at any age. So for him not to work out and stay in that shape is kind of a slap in the face to the rest of the cast and crew, because, I mean, you have an image to uphold. Now, the studios also took a toll on Justin Lin, and one of the things that they had a problem with, at least for Fast 10, was casting and shooting locations. According to Hollywood Reporter, there was a key location needed in Eastern Europe that was deemed no longer usable and had to be cut due to the war in the Ukraine. Now, although that may seem like a very liable reason to cut that scene and change the script, it does kind of weigh on the director because now he's got to try to find a way around that. But Justin also gets upset over the fact that they haven't cast one of the villains yet. And then on top of that, Hollywood Reporter also says that the studios were going to send a writer from London to polish dialogue for some of the actors, a move that was unexpected but apparently not welcomed by Lin at the time. They continue saying the constantly moving target proved too much for the seasoned director, who on April 23rd had a major disagreement with Vin Diesel during a meeting, which ended with Justin Lin stepping away from the project. So as far as the movie goes and what the final outcome is going to be, I don't know what the tone is going to feel like for this movie now. With Justin Lin stepping aside, there's a lot of tension on set. I'm hoping that this franchise can end on a high note, but it's really starting to look like it's cursed. Now, we do have a new director for Fast 10, and that is Louis Leterrier. Now, I feel like he's a good director, but I don't know if he's at the Fast and Furious level. I like a lot of his work. He did direct the Transporter movies with Jason Statham, and I think he did a couple more with Jet Li. So he's got a decent resume, but these were good movies, not great movies. They weren't like massive blockbusters. So I'm not sure he can bring the level of intensity to Fast 10 that it needs. Now, obviously, only time's going to tell, and I'm hoping he does his research on the Fast and Furious franchise and can adapt to its intensity and the flow in which the movies have had. So, as a big fan, I'm a little sketched out about the situation. I don't know how I feel about it. I have very low expectations at this point for this movie. Now, I hope I'm wrong and all the cast and crew can adapt to the changes and overcome the problems and hurdles it's had, and they can come together to make a fantastic final movie, which has been long coming. So give me your thoughts on all the drama on the Fast 10 set, the new director, what Justin Lin had to say about Vin Diesel and all the problems that they've been having. It's starting to look like The Rock has been right this entire time. If you made it this far in the video, I do greatly appreciate it. Please drop a like on it for me. Hit that subscribe button on your way out if you haven't already. I'm Kevin, and I'll see you at the concession stands.